What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Tonya Lady T, and welcome to all members and newcoming members. All right, y'all, as promised, I'm doing the mom and daughter tag. It may be a two-part series, but this is the first part. And again, this is just an opportunity for you to get to know either me and or my mom through these questions about us a little bit more personally, or just, curiosity. So this is some questions that I pulled up off of the internet and from people just doing it on YouTube. Tags are real popular. So I've always wanted to do one. I just never got around to doing it. So today is the day.
Tag day.
Yes. Okay. So now these questions, like I said, I looked up, and then I have only one question from a member. If you remember, I asked you members to list any questions that you may have. Now, if you have any more questions after this video, then we will do perhaps another Q&A or a mom and daughter tag number 2. So we're going to just jump right on into it.
Okay. Ask me something.
Okay. Question number 1.
Okay.
Were there any similarities between me and you as a child?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curiosity. Just always very inquisitive. And that's my nature. I'm not overtly or overly curious or anything like that. But I've always been a curious person. Tonya was very curious, very talkative. I'm talkative. But you can be talkative, but in different ways. And I think most of my children have this trait of being outspoken. And I always try to tell them, say what you have to say, but do it respectfully. So, yes, a lot. A lot. And, dressing up, the hair, the makeup, the clothes, fashion, nice things. I mean, a whole lot of stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right, question number 2. Did you have a best friend when you were a kid? If so, what were they like?
The most vivid memory I have of best friends was actually when I was in high school, and I think, junior high. I remember 7th grade vividly as far as friendships are concerned. I can remember, when I was kindergarten, children, I don't even remember names, but from 7th grade, I can remember I had 2 guys that were, in the 7th grade or junior high, you're your silliest and most obnoxious people in the world, even back when I was coming up. And all we thought we were supposed to do was joke and laugh and pick at stuff, anything. And so, And then, of course, I had 2 girls in particular that were my very best friends. Doll, she's passed on. In fact, she passed about 3 years ago. And then my other best friend during that time frame, Virginia, she's passed also. But we were just best friends from 7th grade through graduation. And even maybe a couple of years after graduation, because I moved away from Atlanta when I was 24 years old. So, absolutely, I had best friends. Unfortunately, they passed on, left me here, so what can I say?
And y'all were good.
Oh, yeah, we kept up with each other. Sometimes it'd be 10 years we didn't hear, but we would hook right back up. Whenever I go to Atlanta, I'd look them up, or, at least call, and we'd chit-chat, talk. Sometimes we were able to get together and, just enjoy each other. But, and friendships are very important to me. I don't have a lot of people say, in my personal space all the time, in my house or I'm in their house, but I value friendships because I had, of course there's different levels of friendship, different people based on personalities that you have friendships with. So I love people. I love being around people, and I love having, that interaction, but I'm not in somebody's house all the time. When I think about it, I very rarely visit my friends' home because they always come.
They always come over here.
So, but it's not because whatever. It's just because I'm always doing stuff, I guess. But relationships are wonderful.
And speaking of relationships, is there a time that you can think back? This is just my own little spin-off questions now that we're talking. Of course, without naming names, is there anybody that you can remember in my childhood, perhaps a friend, that maybe perhaps you questioned?
Of yours?
That.
Oh, of yours. Oh my God, let me see.
Like any of my good friends.
I'm trying to think back through because, and I'm sure we'll get into that stuff later. Because, you know, as a little girl, you always outgoing and talkative, and, you know, children gravitated towards you, and, you know, because you were outgoing. And I cannot think of anybody that had any bad, even as I'm going up through junior high. Because I'm thinking of, you know, when we were in Mississippi at that time. I mean, you know, you think of it, because I'm like this. I'm sort of a free-spirited person.
Or can you remember any of my good close friends that just were my ace boon teams?
Oh, yeah, I might not be able to call them. In Mississippi, that was where, in Atlanta, you were a little girl. You were, you know, little kindergarten, whatever, like that. So I can remember the neighbor across the hall, the little boy across, I can't remember his name, but his mom actually introduced me to my husband. So, you know, y'all played together. I don't remember that child's name. I know I had to spank him one time because he told me to shut up or something. I popped his tail. Anyway, but that we could do that back then. Can't do it now. But, and then, you know, like I said, most of my memories, like with yours, I remember the junior high friends that you had. Because, you know, with my children, their friends were always at our house, and you know they were. We let them out to go, you know, get into whatever they got into. But oh yeah, I can remember even when we were in Spain. I remember Charlotte. That was Charlotte was your really really good friend. I would love to know where Charlotte is, but you were what, about 10, 12, somewhere along there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to see if you remembered any of them.
Yeah.
And you just reminded me of
and then Annette's girl.
Angie and Liz.
Yeah, Angie and Liz.
Those were my buddies.
I just said hey to one of those girls. I was talking to her mom yesterday, and just checking on her because she lives in the Dallas area, and she was saying she was on the phone with Angie, and Angie said to say hi. And I said, oh, yeah, tell her, hey, and I sure would love to give her a hug. And, you know, of course, Liz is right there with her. And I was in some pictures the other day. You remember, the mom's name was Paula. But it was a little boy and a little girl. You were friends with them.
Yeah.
I can't remember
I can't think of their name. Isn't that something how you go back and can't? But you know what? It's amazing because Angie, I'm telling you, you know, when you're, like, you know, we were in the military, so we traveled a lot, but wherever we were stationed at, we made, or, you know, of course, my mom and I, of course, we made great friends. And I can remember Angie, and just recently, earlier part of the year, she reached out and let me know that, you know what, girl, I've been watching you over there on the Flavor Train. And I thought, oh my goodness. So, you know, that's one thing I do love about the YouTube platform, is that your childhood friends that you just, you know, you never forgot about, but life has just entered in. Of course, you grow up and you move on. But to know, wow, they're actually watching my video, because that's why I say you never know who is watching your videos on YouTube. You just never know. So, okay. Awesome. Okay. Question number 3. What's your favorite memory of me? Okay. I know there's more to come, but thus far.
You know, growing up, I guess the fact that Tonya could always sing. I've always been in awe of anybody that had that kind of tech, you know, sing, dance, act. I'm just always in awe of people like that. And Tonya still has a beautiful voice. And as she was growing up, of course, you know, I put in this little talent show, that little talent show for her to sing at church.
Mom kept me busy. Yeah. I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, because my thing is that I believe in, you know, the saying that says accentuate the positive. I always have believed in that.
Yes.
So whatever your positive traits are, and I feel even with my children, to this day, it's like I'm still pushing Tony with his artwork. Draw something, boy. So he drew a picture of Papa. Hey, Papa. He got me to draw Papa's picture over there. And you know, okay, and as I was saying, Tonya could always sing, and I always enjoyed the fact that she was that talented. And I enjoyed taking her around, you know, to church or wherever, putting her in different talent shows and whatnot. So those, you know, and again, Tonya was always very expressive. Now I like people that are able to express themselves. So I enjoyed that about her. She was always talkative, you know, always saying and doing little stuff, whatever. But yeah, those early memories. And of course, you know, as time went on, same thing. I could see her and me because, like I said, she loved hair and makeup, Lord Jesus, and she loved fashion. So I could see that, you know, as she, you know, went on through elementary school, junior high, high school, and she carried that through, you know, to this day. She still is into fashion, decorating, and all that kind of stuff. So I enjoy that about her. I enjoy her zeal for doing things and being very. And I always said Tonya should have been an attorney because of her ability to, you know, analyze and do stuff like that and multitask. And I enjoy watching her because whatever she takes on, she takes it to the next level. And of course, you know, that's based on what she wants to do. So I'm always glad to watch her do that, just to watch her grow in general. And I've watched her grow, especially this weight loss journey thing, honey. I mean, that is just absolutely amazing. So
yeah, and I just want to interject, and I just want to thank my mama because she knows that, y'all, I was getting ready to do the slice and dice.
And I had prayed, but just so y'all know, when I tell you pray without ceasing, honey, and I told her to her face, that little cute face, I said, look, I want you to know I'm praying against that surgery thing because I know that by the grace of God, you can do anything you put your mind to because that surgery was just, you know, when you look at it, and I know some people have health issues and they have to
have it,
And I'm not talking about,
we're not knocking people that had
about that. I'm just talking about people who, you know, for whatever other reasons they might have, and I mean, we don't need to go into all of those, but I knew that she could do it without doing that because I've seen people who've had the surgery for whatever reason, and then you see them again, they, you know, the weight gain was doubled, and then they go into this depression, and then you feeling bad for them. So I literally, when I tell you about prayer, I literally prayed against and asked the Lord, change her mind, Lord, give her another way to do it, shrink the weight off, do whatever you got to do, but she don't need to go through that surgery because I just didn't want to see her do that. Because I also didn't want to see her, you know, like people, like I could say, some people do, and backslide into 2 years later, you 2 squares back further than you started out. So,
And for me, she recognized too that this was a lifelong change. I needed to have a renewing of my mind so I won't have to keep coming back to the place of having to lose that kind of weight. And the kind of weight that I've had to lose twice, 100 pounds about 20 some years ago. And now again, here I am again having to lose 100 and a little bit more because I'm, you know, want to get into that target weight range of 150, 160. So again, you know, a little bit at a time. So for me, I needed to get it and understand that this is a total life commitment. You have to renew your mind about food, about and so when she recognized that, and again, like I said, she was like, She said, you know, and you know, sometimes you need to get stung, and she stung me a few times in my life where, you know, everything you're doing, Tonya, you can fix and turn around just by watching what you put in your pie hole. So anyway, I just want to again, you know, I already tell you, but I just want to thank you again for your perseverance and being able to stand in the gap and pray for me, pray my strength through it.
And that's the episode part. That's why if y'all look at my, I don't know how many of y'all watch my channel, but y'all know pray without ceasing is my mantra. That's my thing. That has, in over the last 4 or 5 years has become my theme, and I'll say it unapologetically. Pray without ceasing about anything that you're going through in life, because you know what? That is your language to talk to the Lord. That's the language that He understands very well. Prayer life.
Mm-hmm.
So pray without ceasing, y'all. When you can't pray no more, pray some more anyway, because God will hear you according to what He's got lined up for you. So you have to remember that too.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen. All right. The next question is, when were you the proudest of me?
Okay. When was I the proudest of you? Okay. So here we go. Again, it goes back. You watch your children, your friends, your loved ones. You watch them grow, just like I think about, from glory to glory to glory. But you watch them go from this point to that point, and you look at the milestones in their lives, the accomplishments, how they come through those hard times. And I guess it's like when I could see you get on your own and have your, because you got out of here at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
And when I could see that maturity, I guess maybe when you get about 21, 22, somewhere along
I think I moved out, 18, 19?
About 19,
Yeah.
You moved out because you want to do your own thing. I thought, if you want to do it, that's what you're going to have to do. Okay? Let's clear that up so y'all don't have to wonder, why did you move out at 19? Because you want to do your own thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a free bird. If that's what you want to do, baby, that's what you want to do. But that was a milestone, because I did the same thing. I was out of my mom's house by 18. And it was because I wanted to do something different than what was going on in my mama's house.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And then when you got out there, and we stumble, we fall, but we get back up again.
Mm-hmm.
But you kept it going, and I guess to see that perseverance, to see, yeah. And no matter what the tribulation was, you overcame it,
mm-hmm.
and you got back up. And I can say, and I'm not just saying it for the sake of this saying, every time you got back up, you got back a little bit stronger.
Yes.
That's key in anybody's life, because if you get back up and you still flopping and complaining and whining and you ain't making no progress, but I could see, and as time went on, you like when you got this apartment that you stayed there for a while,
mm-hmm.
that relationship you stayed there for a long time. Then the next, but I'm just saying, she has that stick-to-itiveness. That's a word, to stay and try to fight it out to see. And again, you came out better,
mm-hmm.
because it's like anything else. If you don't give yourself time enough to learn where you are and what's going on, and you move on too quick, guess what? When you move on too quick, you get there and you're going to repeat the same foolishness again. So that's the one thing I can say about Tonya, is that just like this child been on the same job for how many years?
34.
34 years, and she's only 51. Mm-hmm. So how many 19, 20-year-olds do that? Not a whole lot. And whoa. Not only did she stay there and start out, in packing or skinny,
yep. Packing.
But guess what? She packed. She got her some muscles and packed, and she stayed. And it was, because I used to think, oh my God, but I didn't bother her.
Mm-hmm.
I just tried to encourage her, and we helped her in whatever way we could, to stay where she was, because that's what she wanted. Mm-hmm. And as she went on, she went from packing to, come on, give the progress, packing to
production accounting, and then from production accounting into customer service, and now I'm a manager.
See,
over
this
a whole
is what
department.
See, that's what's sticking to
category within the department.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Yeah. So she up there in the high cotton. Now she up there on the rooster comb thing. She ain't back there where the turkey tail. Turkey tails are good, by the way, but she up there on that little flap thing now. So that's what happens when you stick to a task or a thing in life, or don't give up right quick. So that's what I can say. And now she went from she lived in this rooming house. Her dad said it was a fire trap. She went. Well, you went from there to
there and to, unfortunately, to an apartment where I did have a fire and lost everything I owned. But
she got through that. Yeah. So and then apartment, and now she lives in one of these big. She live with the big dogs now. So like I'm saying, she stuck with that. She didn't get discouraged about, I'm living here now and doing this and this. She kept right on moving, and again, every time she moved, it got a little bit better.
Amen.
So now she says she's in her dream home. Who knows? She might dream another dream. I don't know.
Hey.
But y'all have seen her home, beautiful home. So, and she's done that as a single individual, by the grace of God, and serving the Lord and trying to live a good, righteous life. So, and all of that. So that's what I can say. My proudest thing, and that's what I want for all my children, is to be able to see them prosper and do well. As our Heavenly Father says to us, He wants us to prosper, be in good health, and do well.
Yes.
And that's what I've lived, and God has let me live long enough to see her do those things. And my other children as well, they're coming along, they're doing things. My son in Atlanta, he has leaps and bounds. He's at the pinnacle. She's getting there.
Yeah.
Tonya's getting his health together, and he will. Before I close my eyes, I know I'll be able to see him get to his pinnacle. But when you have health issues and things going on, sometimes it don't happen as well. But anytime, and whatever that individual's progress is what we have to expect and respect. We have to respect that progress, because everybody don't progress at the same rate. That's why so many people are mad with each other and they speaking to each other when they start comparing. You did that and you should. No, that's that person's rate of progress. So I said all that to say this. That's one of the most things that I've enjoyed seeing about, and proudest moments about Tonya, is that every time she moved from one thing to the other, she progressed. She went forward with it.
Awesome. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good saying.
So that'll preach.
That'll preach. Okay. Next question is, what's a time that you felt worried or afraid for us or for me?
Well, let's see. Well, for Tonya, go back to childhood. Well, I remember that day when you didn't come home. Remember that day? And Tonya said, "I knocked you under." Slow down. Now that's because I'm not a excitable, scary type person. I feel caution and fear, but I'm not one. That's not my personality. Never has been. But just seriously though. Is that
when I didn't get on the bus and went to 7-Eleven? So
That's why you. That's why I tried to spank her. I tried to spank her tail, but guess what happened? When I swung at her, she zooped down and got up on the bed. Tony said the story that Tony tells. I knocked her under the bed.
Said she knocked me under the bed, and I wouldn't come out from under the bed for hours and hours.
I said, Tony, stop your lying. But anyway, that was the story.
Yeah, I can see how that can be scary. Cause I
was scared because I couldn't. Me now that. I'm an action person, so I'm ready to get my shoes on and get out and start canvassing and looking, trying to find you. Mm-hmm. But before I could do that, and this is Tonya always, she was always had that smile, and so before I could get out there and do it, here she come through the door, and it, how you
it had been raining or something too. I had to walk home in the rain or something like that.
And I ain't I guess I probably should have got Tony too, because I couldn't. Yeah. I never figured. I'm gonna have to ask him, where were you? Why you let your sister do all?
Yeah, because he always had to look after me. As far as when we were at school and the rode the school bus, he got on the bus, and for whatever reason, he probably should have made me get on the bus.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. So. Some of the little details are kind of, edgy and sketchy. But I do remember that. Yeah, and that can be scary, and especially well, any day and age,
Yeah.
but especially this day and age.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Ooh,
I probably would go ballistic if something went wrong with these children now. But you know, also of course, when Tonya, you all know Tonya has she had an early child, had a child
teenage
early
pregnancy,
yeah.
Dexter.
So I won't say I was scared.
You were very hurt. I think.
Oh Lord, yeah, because I'm telling you, from little bitty girl, Tonya was that little girl. She was just like, I don't want to say showpiece. I ain't gonna say that. Because you know what? I think about them children that them people put in them pageants and make them dress up and stuff. But I didn't do that to her. No. Tonya was always a pretty girl. She always loved to dress up and look cute and all this kind of stuff. And she's always done that. So she was that child that I made sure she had, her fashion stuff and all that, made her little fashion statement. And when she became pregnant, because at that moment, in the moment, it felt like, oh my God, all that's gone. And again, I'm not one of these overt people with it. I think I sort of internalized it, and I became angry with her. Mm-hmm. I was really angry with her. Yeah. And it took me a couple months, and I got past it because it's just not my nature to hold stuff. But in that, because at 14, were you 14? 15. At 15, it was like, oh my goodness. And I can remember just as good. Remember that day you came home, you you had thrown up in your purse?
Yeah, I was 15 going on 16, somewhere around there.
I had bought her this beautiful leather purse, and she came home in some kind of way. I found out, I said, you got sick and threw up in your purse. And she said, yes, ma'am. But see, she was pregnant then.
Because I think what happened, and then I was getting dressed one morning, and I was putting on some pantyhose, and you said, come here. And she saw that black line on my stomach.
Oh yeah, that was it. I said, come here.
Oh my God, y'all. And she was just like, she knew. It was like she knew. So I had to tell her. Tonya.
And I asked her, are you pregnant? Of course she said no. I said, pull that shirt up, honey. You got the line on your stomach. You're pregnant.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. And I can't remember the details of what happened, but that was how I found out for sure.
Yeah.
But she went on, made it on through the school year and everything. And here come the little peel-headed Dexter. And, life was good. And we were in a situation where
I had a great childhood. I mean, we talked about those things and sex and all that. So that was the other devastating thing about her, because even if I were to have come to her and said, I done slipped out the back door with naughty head boy. I mean, she was one of those mothers, and still is one of those mothers, that will either prepare me for it, because I already did the do.
Exactly.
You can't undo the do.
No, but once you do the do,
honey, your body still want to do the do.
Yeah, and that's the day. That's why God set us aside for the marriage.
Yeah, I mean,
so folk lose their mind behind sexual encounters. But
she was so.
I was devastated. Hurt. I was devastated. Hurt. Oh, I was just devastated. Hurt.
And rightfully so, because like I said, I was a very active child. I mean, we just did stuff. That was fun. We were just very active children.
Kept them involved in stuff all the time. But like I said, we worked through it. Dexter came, honey. It was like the best thing since the gravy.
Yep.
We were, like I said, we were able to support her in taking care of him, and had a good childhood and grew up and traveling, all over everywhere in the military. So it was good. That was just one of those things in her life that I guess, as and especially at 15 or at any age, if your child ain't ready, that's because we had other plans for her, and basically it didn't interrupt too much. She did well. She came, she did well. So I thank God, that our lifestyle was such that we could support her. A lot of girls, don't have that support system. And it changed our lifestyle in a way. But when you look at it, if you work at something and want to do it in your heart enough, it is not that. It's just because when I look back over I mean, sure, we had extra stuff to do, but again, when you make it about family and about love, it doesn't even seem to be a big deal, you know. So,
Awesome. Okay, the next question: what were your parents like? What was your relationship with them like? And how has it evolved over time? But we know both of your parents are deceased, but yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, just like Tonya said, both my parents have been dead over 15, 20 years ago. My relationship with my parents were working people, hard working people. My daddy had a 7th grade education. My mom had a high school education. My mom did business school. In fact, I got her Bible sitting right over there where she wrote a little thing about how she went to business school. She became an insurance agent and for Pilgrim Insurance Company in Atlanta. And she used to take it as a little girl, 4 or 5 years old. I can remember she picked me up from school and I'd walk her route with her over by Martin Luther King Drive, over by Honda Street, all over in that area. And then later in life, my mom worked at a hospital as a dietary. She did that. And then somewhere, either before or after that, she became a domestic. I don't know why she went, that direction with her career, but she did what she wanted to do. My mom, as far as I can remember, she always worked. She retired at 55, 60, whatever. And it seemed like, I can remember, it seemed like when my mom retired, it seemed like she sat down and never got back up again. You know what I'm saying? And I looked at that and I thought, wow, I don't ever want to do that. Because 55, even back then, I knew that 55, 60 wasn't real old. But she just did. And, and as I was able to put things into perspective, I had brothers who were incarcerated, and that weighed on her. And I'm sure that was part of that. I'm tired, making the trips, writing the letters, sending the money, doing the lawyer thing, all that. And I used to always say I would never let my life come to that like my mom did. Now, my dad, of course, he was hardworking. He drove a cement truck for William Brothers Cement Company in Atlanta, and for Peavy Concrete. He was responsible for helping to pour all that. When you go to Atlanta, you see all those highways and byways and bypasses and perimeters. Daddy used to work into the wee hours driving that truck, pouring that cement in Atlanta, Georgia, because that took a long time to do, years and years. And I can remember whenever they started that project, Daddy made enough money that he could have like a little Christmas savings. And when they started doing that, and even after I left home, they would give us like $20, and I thought, ooh, that was something. He gave us like $20 for me, and I think I had Tonya and Tonya at the time. But my parents were hardworking parents. My mother raised us with the Bible. I learned learned the books of the Bible and things about the Bible from Jehovah's Witness. We used to study with Jehovah's Witness up until I was in maybe the 6th grade or 7th grade or something like that. That lady used to come every Thursday. Again, silly children. We picked and laughed and picked with that woman so bad.
And so you and your mother had a close relationship, and you watched her do things.
I watched her. They talk, and then my grandmother was in the picture as well. My grandmother was with us until I was 8th or 9th grade, and for a while she lived with us. And before she lived with us, when I was a little bitty girl, I would catch the bus and go to her house. I used to help her clip her toenails, go to the doctor with her, go shopping with her. And I was a little old thing. She taught me how to cook. I was
about like how Lauren is with me.
I was about 7, 8 years old, child. I could cook anything you could eat. That's where I learned how to cook with my mom, watching my mom, and with my grandmother, because I spent a lot of time with them. And then, as time went on, grandmother passed away, and that relationship. But I had that close relationship with my mom and my grandmother. And my daddy was always in the house. He was a working man. He was a provider. He was just grumpy.
Yeah. I remember Granddaddy.
And
sit down over there, girl.
My,
his mother didn't interrupt his braids.
No. Woo. Girl, Brave baseball. He loved Brave baseball, win, lose, or draw. And that was just his personality. Yeah. So it took me till I was about 21, 22 to understand why he was so gruff and all like that.
But I knew he loved me.
Oh, yeah.
That he loved us. He loved us, but he just had his just had his way. You know.
But I had good parents. Like I said, they were working parents. They kept a roof over our heads. Some days the food got kind of shaky, but they kept they kept us going though. I love my parents. They, you know.
Okay, and the last question is, what was your biggest fear and reward about having children?
Okay, my biggest fear. I can't even really say I had a fear per se. I mean, things have happened with y'all where I prayed and asked God to help y'all to do better and help me to do better, to guide you and to, you know, give you the opportunity to be yourself without getting into this, you know, trying to be your friend and all that foolishness. No. But I always believe that God made each one of us individually, and I think we should respect each other's individuality, and we should respect each other. And, you know, I look at that scripture that says, honor thy mother and thy father, that the days might be longer. And it also says in Ephesians, parents, don't tempt your children. So, to me, it's a two-way street. Either way you look at it. I'm not going to be disrespectful. Now, might I have to raise my voice, but I mean disrespect and having to shake a person and tell them, look, listen, versus being disrespectful. That's two whole different ballgames. And I think you know, as far as I can remember, I have always allowed you all to say what you all need to say with respect. And, you know, sometimes when you're talking, especially as adults, and I talk to my children and tell them now, just like I would when they were 10, look, if I got something to say to you, you need to hush and let me say it. I earn that right. And if you don't want to say it, now you fixing to have a real issue. And you don't even want to know what it is. So I'm like that. And, you know, if we're talking and a little cuss word fly out of your mouth or something, I don't take it as an affront to me or being disrespectful. I take it as you're a human. You have emotions, and sometimes those stuff pop out when you're talking. But I fully believe in allowing people to express what they need to say, because I'm going to tell y'all one thing. If it's important enough to them, it's going to come out somewhere, sometime, and we don't want it to pop out at the wrong time. And if we, you know, think about each other's feelings and love each other, we're going to respect each other. And then something come up, zip it. Don't you open your mouth and say it. You swallow it and you take it to the grave. And you have to learn that. You don't, they don't just fall on. You have to know it, because then what you have to do that, you have to put yourself in that situation. Would you want somebody to bring that up? A lot of stuff I don't want nobody to bring up that have happened in my life. No, I don't want to hear that crap. And I would take an affront to it. So some stuff is better left unsaid. And then some things that we don't say, we need to find a way to say them. Because the word of God says a kind word turns away wrath. Yes. You find that kind word and you'll be able to say it.
Now, did you were you fearful of labor pains hurting you, or were you scared of that, the pain?
You know what? Look, that stuff used to hurt so bad 3 different occasions.
Who was the longest labor? Can you remember? Labor pains.
Maybe Tony, because each one of y'all was like 12 hours plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think, whatever, you know, Tonya was my first child. So, one thing about labor, as far as I'm concerned, it's like you feel it in the moment. After it's over, it's like now I'm sitting here thinking, I couldn't be more. If somebody said, if you could just put together what, because it was so bad, it's just something you can't put together. So it's like once you did it and done with it, it's not something you call your girlfriend up and say, girl, let's talk about labor pains.
Because it ain't convinced folk that it's so bad that they don't keep having them.
Exactly. Some people have 10, 12, 15 children. My mother had 11 children. Yeah, my mom had 11. I know girls right around here, girls that I've known from 5th and 6th grade have 9 and 10 children. To each his own, honey. Have just as many as you want.
Amen. But nah, people like to know, how long did you go in labor with me? So 12 plus for all of us.
Yeah, 12
all
plus
three.
for the last one of them. But I think whenever I was pregnant, I always gained a lot of weight. I gained over 60 pounds with every last one of y'all. I used to keep the picture of when I was pregnant with you. I was a beautiful black girl because when I was pregnant with you, it was in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I had afro this big. Mm. And I had, pregnancy. I had that I didn't get the pregnancy nose. I had that pretty smooth, dark skin. And I used to wear, with pregnancy, you don't have a whole lot of maternity clothes. But I used to love to wear this burgundy. That's probably why you like burgundy. I used to wear this burgundy. It was a deep, rich burgundy, and I made it. I used to make my own clothes. I had a pretty burgundy where it was like a long dashiki because, then where I wore my stuff right up to my knee because back then that was mini skirts and micro minis. So I wore that, and I'll never forget, I was standing at the bus stop on my way to work because I worked right up to almost Labor Day of labor, literally. And this guy stopped. He said, you know what? I was about 8.5 months pregnant. He said, you got the prettiest pregnant woman I ever seen in my life.
How about that?
And I said, oh, check it stuff. But I just remember that. I remember just being really, really just beautiful. My skin was just beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the last question that is from Nisha. She's one of the members, and I'm just remembering this off memory, but I will post her question on the screen. But her question, which will be a question segue into the mom and daughter tag, where you ask me questions, but we'll do that later.
Okay.
But this will be the segue question. Here's the question. Did your mother ever have any input about who I dated?
I'm trying to remember. Okay, you dated.
I can answer my part of that question, no. But Mom, you can give your thoughts on maybe I forgot.
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. You dated Tim. Can I call name or no? Okay, maybe okay. I can call name. Well, they not y'all not get dated up.
Yeah. Well, they don't know my past other than my baby daddy, and then here Tim, Dwayne, and Rex. That's why I told people I've only had 4, and I won't say she.
I never.
She told me how to date and who to date, but when one of the relationships, she was like, you don't remember when I had the fire and we sat out in your Mercedes and you were like, Tonya, don't go back into that lifestyle because. Yeah. In other words, she was trying to get me to see, girl, you just had a fire. Don't that was the split up.
Yeah. And so I'm not a buttinsky. I don't butt in.
She's not a butter. She's not.
If I see something happening to, even a good friend, I'm going to say something. I think I would be remiss if I did not. So about that fire situation, it was like, I dream a lot. I'm a dreamer. So I had seen some things in a dream, and I had talked about some stuff with the Lord, and I had talked to myself, and I thought, okay, now you can call it what you want to call it, but I called it a forewarning, and you need to take heed. I said, okay, you know that you was living with somebody, you weren't married to him. That wasn't what you were supposed to have been doing. Now you had that fire, you lost everything. Everything the Lord done saw fit to burn all that.
It was
away.
all burnt up. I was telling
Burnt
them on a bottom of the
Yeah.
vine. It was black as
burnt.
black.
It's just burnt up to the point where it's like, this is throwaway stuff. Leave it alone, and you don't go back to that old beat up, burn up mess. And no reflection on that young man. But the point was, it was the relationship. It was the situation. And I said to her, I said, now you can take it or you can leave it, but I'm telling you as your mother, do not go back into that situation. You again, she came out of that bad situation, but when she came out and took that advice, she came out better. Again, no reflection on that person as an individual, because God knows he was a good person. I loved him, but it was just a situation. And I told her, I said, do not go back into that situation, because in my mind, because I kept saying, Lord, because I'm not a God, why you do? That's not my personality. That's just not me. I don't question God. What I did talk to the Lord about was, Lord, how help me to help my daughter to do what she needs to do. And I can't sit here and say there was something right about that relationship. And I said, Lord, I know for a fact you burnt that mess up. And I said, I need to be able to tell her.
I told people that was my Jonah moment. When Jonah was in the well and had to ponder some things, or the big fish, I was sitting in that Mercedes out there, and it stung because she saw me, again, because she knows me, trying to put us back where we were. And so she was just like, it stung so hard, because like I said, she's not a butter, and she's never been, in that way. And when she said it, I knew it. It stung so bad, but I couldn't do nothing but cry, because I got convicted. I couldn't. But so anyway, so y'all, that is going to be the segue into the next set of questions that we do later on in the month, where she gets to pose the questions to me. She already knows everything about me, but you know. I don't know. You might want to ask me something.
Send us some questions.
But y'all, don't forget to send in your questions for questions you would like my mother to ask me. But like I said, she already knows everything about me, and the stuff she don't know, it'll go with me to the grave.
Yeah.
Where it need to.
That's what I tell my children all the time, especially at Tanda. She'll say, don't you? I said, look, I know enough. All I don't know, I ain't trying to know. So if you think I need to know, keep to yourself.
But anyway, this was fun, and I hope it was enlightening to you all, just to know just a little bit more about myself and or my mother and our dynamic. We don't mind sharing certain things, and so again, we appreciate your faithfulness and being members. And that's it. And that's all. And I'm gonna free Mom up so she can eat, and I can get on back to what I need to do. So anyway, I love y'all so much. I appreciate your questions. We love you. God bless. And may the peace of the Lord be with you.
And pray without ceasing, y'all.
All right, y'all. Bye.
The person that can't sit down without pillows. Pushy chairs like that. Yeah, I'm in my element. I'm ready to go now.
You good to go?
Wait, let me get the dress pulled out. Because I was going to dress. Well, this is fall, but I was going to do some heavy, pretty, glitzy. It's so hot. It's 90 degrees. I thought, girl, if you don't get that hot, might be fall, but the weather ain't caught up with the season yet.
I'm trying to think. Should I wear my glasses with or without the glasses? Without, huh?
That's a beauty shield. I have to wear mine so I can see.
Okay, so better with or without? I think without.
You squinting without them. Did you realize that? You squinting when you.
Oh yeah, but I mean, the thing of it is, since we're recording, I don't necessarily have to.
But do you want to be squinting?
Well, I think I'm gonna be looking at you most of the time.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.